I broke to become one. Ain't you happy? I chose rap, I'm a monster. Streets deceiving, can't believe my cultural strata. Personas never non-needle. We sound need not a simple pot of beef. For cold winter tattoos, got my summer sleeveless. To my G's on the sleeve from the coppers. Stiff bodies on freezing, funeral polish. From the slums, come up a Phoenix. Caked up, trying to take what I mean. They name up a dismissed kid. If you allow to witness this, savvy mouth. Wild heart, a man's man. Would've knew the beach houses and wild parties. Jezebel, Stella McCartney's. For years, all that. How can I not be dead? This old German said I was a thug with a naughty head. Looked at my bands and called that a Nazi sled. With a face like you wonder where I get my bread. Probably only stones to see from my shows overseas. So climb the rhyme, my story is I'm from the home of the thieves. America. Wake up. Blessings, the Lord is a G, he gotta be. Who's the God of something, snitches the economy. Lipstick for gold, for a death kiss for Fidel Castro. He want me to spit this, only the strong survive. Nas bear witness. The hypocrisy is all I can see. White cop acquitted for murder, black cop a plea. The type of shit make me stop and think. We ain't trying to get up a second look of the law books. And the whole race got out of me. Too many rappers, athletes, and actors. But not enough niggas in NASA. Give me the latest dances, trends and fashion. But when it comes to residuals, they passes. Woven into the fabric. They can't stand us even in white tees, jeans, and red bandanas. America. Wake up. Assassinations, diplomatic relations, killed indigenous people, built a new nation. A military labor took a knife, split a woman, labor took a premature baby, lit a man till you wake up. If I could travel to the 1700s, I push a wheelbarrow full of dynamite through your company. Let us sit on the Senate and tell the whole government y'all don't treat women fair. Read about herself in the Bible, believe it. Reason sinners here. You played her with an apron like bring me my dinner, dear. She the nigga here. Ain't we in the free world? Death penalty in Texas kill young boys and girls. Barbarity. I'm in the double law casually. Bugging how I made it out the hood. Dazzling. How far we really for third world savagery? When the empire fall, imagine how crazy that KK is dog on all y'all. Chopper riding, we awake, melody streaming, ET beaming, blood dot, lightsaber walker, wolf talker, never. All men, I talk, Shinnecock, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Washita, Blackfoot, but I can set no the Skokie, you know me, the whole thing is Koki. I'ma to restore the crown of the all man. I talk, Shinnecock, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Washita, Blackfoot. I'ma knock seven on the Skokie, you know me, the whole thing is Koki. I'ma to restore the Tomahawk chop in the Tiger City block. Big Buffalo people coming to wreck shop. Hip hop, I'm out and pop, doctor. For raw, indigenous rock whip, the native chant, Christ war dance, at a glance, anyone who glance at the shekel war dance, war dance, keep seven feather out, the Moorish code of power, make all these 14th Amendment rappers throw in the towel, wear compass and travel. These masons taking oaths, disrespecting ancestors, selling their souls to ghosts. I raise my glass, make a toast to aboriginals, traveling the cosmos. That's most, meaning that's on top. My knee bandaged up, black hawk, what's up? What's up? Most go, we taking it back from the tomb of the bones when we coming in the rooms and we boom like all that. I talk, Shinnecock, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Washita, Blackfoot. I've been be Seminole, Skokie, you know we the whole me is OG, coming to restore the crown of the all man. I talk, Shinnecock, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Washita, Blackfoot. I've been be Seminole, Skokie, you know we the whole me is OG, coming to restore the crown of the whole man. The heavens like the sunshine, this dick is an empress. I'm about to begin, giving love to all the ancestors that's tuning in. Here comes a new here's with some offering.
Peace, peace, peace. This is the Touchless one, and you're now listening to the sounds of the Aborigines of North America. And you know, it's another bill. Want some more information that has been found. Before I start, I definitely like to give a shout out to the brother Nipsey Hussle, man. I've been in a lot of things, as far as like shit, YouTube videos, and the conspiracies and all that shit. And like, I like conspiracies, but I don't like stupid conspiracies. I don't like conspiracies with no substance. So, we got another brother lost his life. You know what I'm saying? I know on my last video I said rest in peace to the brother, but I'm saying it again. So rest in peace to the brother, man, and all rest in peace to the other brothers and sisters that's not mentioned in the media that did lose their lives as well. So you know how it is, y'all. Shout out to all the Aborigines. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat room. Shout out to everybody from North, South, Central, Joining Islands, and then all the Aborigines throughout the world. All right. So what I was going to do first was I was going to show you how um these half breed Indians, which are nothing but Europeans, how they took control of the tribe, and that's what the we getting real close to this shit, y'all. We getting real close to really having some substance and being able to figure this shit out. Um, I'm serious. We getting real close, man. Especially like with the bill about the Barbados bill, and I learned a lot through that bill. And like a lot of bills that I do, I'll be learning too. Even though like a lot of times I sometimes I try to read a lot of things ahead of time. I get the substance of what I'm working with. But some articles, I've read all these articles before, like I submit them, and some of them I get a lot of information from myself. So, definitely shout out to all the people to come through, to continue to come through, to continue us to push forward as far as us claiming that we're indigenous to this land. And I'm going to be reading a little bit from Slavery in Cherokee Nation. I'm going to be reading a lot from that book because it's like, yo, it's like, yo, every page I read, I want to do a video on because it's so much information in it. And the author, I tried to reach out to the author, Cross your fingers. Hopefully, I can get in touch with this guy. Hopefully, I can try to get a bill with him. And he's a European gentleman, and he know it was black people here. He know. It's just that it's like it's kind of vague because I'm quite sure through his research he's seeing Negro and Indian. You know what I'm saying? He's seeing Negro and Indian. He's not seeing no African. But most people, as soon as you see the word slave and Negro, it's automatically an African. So let me open my screen. Let's get this shit. Give me a second, y'all. And shout out to Cornmeal too, man. Check that to Tubi video out. About the selling witch hunt. Get out of here. Okay, get out of here. About the selling witch hunt. And it's like, yo, like I told the brother, we on the same wavelength because um the Barbados video I did, it mentioned that. And I'm quite sure, we went over that. Um like I had no clue. I had an idea that it was pretty much talking about somebody, the Arawak. But at first I thought it was an Aborigine Indian because there is other stories about the lady supposed to have been a what they call a sycamore. The ladies had the term sycamore as well too. Um and they were saying that it happened to a bunch of women chiefs or whatever. That was something else that selling witch hunt was leading up to though. But yeah, check out the video the brother did. It's very informative. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that she was one of the original guy from Guyana. No, from Guyana that was shipped to Barbados, or it was the people that was shipped from Barbados that was sent to Guyana, and I believe that they paid them some money to send them back or whatever. So, definitely check the video out, man. Like I said, it's a lot of information now that we focus in. We put a lot of time in. We starting to pay attention to a lot of things about America. Like I said, all you have to do is just pay attention to America. Stop paying attention to Africa and just do some research over here, and you will find out a lot of these Pan Africans they is invested in fucking being an African. They're not investing in wanting to be because if you first of all you have to understand our land was taken from here. They keep talking about Africa got all these resources, the resources you have been taken from you. So let's get into this shit. All right, all right, here we go. Excuse me. All right, so I had to highlight it right here. All right, this is. Let me see. Just bear with me, y'all. You know what? I'm gonna start from right here. Fuck it. Let me see something. Hold up. I'm trying to. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna start right here. All right. So it's saying later parts of the 18th century. Listen to this. In the later parts of the 18th century, white colonists began to recognize the areas such as South Carolina and Georgia, that's saying where African and Indians outnumbered whites 3-1. Now remember, the African ain't nothing but a Negro that came from the West Indies. All right, so let's stay on point with that. All right, but listen to what it's saying. It's saying the Europeans in the 18th century started to realize that in South Carolina and Georgia, that so-called Negroes and Indians outnumbered whites 3-1. It say a great needed existence existed. It say to make Indians and Negroes a clique, I don't know how to pronounce that. It said upon others, least by the vastly superior numbers, we should be crushed by one another. It said in 1775, the British official John Swartz complained It's saying nothing can be more alarming than Carolina than the idea of attack from Indians. Listen, see how they keep putting Indians and Negroes there? Because the Negroes are the Indians, and the Indians were the only slaves here. Okay, so the other slaves they bring here are Negroes from the West Indies. But when your mind's trained when you see the word Negro and you see the word slave, you automatically hands down say that's an African. Okay, but here on my channel, we've been teaching you that the number of Indians outnumbered any so-called Negroes brought back from the West Indies 15 to 1. All right, so it's saying, in my opinion, ought to be prevented as much as possible, which they saying that basically uprisings from the Indians. All right, so it's say William Willis in his divide a rule red, white, and black in the Southeast be, believe that one of the main reasons that Indian slavery was curtained in the colony. Now listen, see what he does is this: he insinuates of how much Indians was enslaved, but he always reduced the numbers, make it less superior to any Africans being found here. And this is how I know this guy has to know. And then he gave that beautiful opening about all of the so-called stories about Richard Neves finding. So he knows. Why is he still using Africans? I don't know. This book is very, 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 very interesting. I'm talking about like really, like I got a lot of books up here. I'm not as organized as some others, but I have a lot of books on my computer. And this book right here, as I'm reading this is giving me all of the insight to the information that I've been looking for. Because in the clause of Civil War, they paint a picture, but they don't say exactly that the so-called it was an Indian war over Indian slaves. And so the Indians had a war with slaves, and so-called the whites had a war with the slaves. Get the fuck out of it. The whites was the Indian chiefs that enslaved most of the Indians that was the prisoners of war coming from 1776 until now. You know what I mean? Until now, we read and see, and then we reading about the right. We're gonna get into the Stony Rebellion, right, of 1739. Now listen to this, right? All right. It say the colonists fears was without basis. Indians and Africans begin to form an alliance. The African runaways. Now listen, the African runaways. We know they Indian runaways. You know what I'm saying? See, they give you African runaways and Indian runaways. Come on now. What did they tell you? They told you the reason they brought the Africans here because the Africans was less likely to run away, which we know that's a lie that just been exaggerated through history and through not wanting to bow down to the fact that they know that you was enslaving people here. You would send them to your colonies in the West Indies, and then you would trade them sometimes for the people that was already in the West Indies that you enslaved there and put them on plantations. And then when you bring them back here, because the Spanish had these islands that you now control, the Spanish put the title of Negro on there. And you continue calling them Negro. In the last video, I showed you what the English, what the Dutch, what the Spanish, and what they meant by the terms that they was calling us. So it will be no way in God's green earth that the English should be calling us or the British should be calling us Negroes. They only calling us Negro because they are taking these plantations from the so-called Spaniards, and the Spanish already classified them as Negroes. Okay, like I said, we already know the stories because if they wasn't calling them Negroes, then when they first encountered, because like I said, the British was black. This is what they don't want you to know. They don't want you to understand. The British at this point in time was black. All the kings and queens coming out of Europe in the 17, 16, 15, 1400s was all black people. All of them. All of them. All of them. Okay. So let's continue this. All right. So it's saying, all right, so without fear, without bias, base bias. It's saying Indians and Africans begin alliances. It's saying runaway Africans follow tradition pathways to Native Americans. Look, nearby maroon communities. Now we know what the fuck the word maroon means. The word maroon means runaway. That's all it means. Runaway. Maroonage means to escape from bondage. That's what the word maroonage means. Okay, so the word we know that the word maroon, it's a nearby maroon communities. We know that the maroons ain't nothing but Indians. They're putting the term, and they're calling them maroons because they are runaways. That's it. Maroonage means to free thyself from in bondage. That's what the word maroonage means. Okay, it's not a group of people. It's a condition that these people put on us. Look, the opening up at this point in time, but the word is maroonage. Okay, so it's a nearby maroon communities and renegades from the territory harass isolated settlers. It's saying the threat of of violence became real. It's say as slave revolts spread through the Carolinas frontier. Now, what did they say about the slave revolt? They said most of the slave revolts was dealing with Indians. But see, we're going to keep on saying is that, first of all, and another thing what I learned, right? You see, if you look up when that Turner slave revolt was, what time is it around? What time is Nat Turner slave revolt is around? It's around the Trail of Tears, okay? It's around the fucking Trail of Tears. So we know he was an Indian. Not to mention, sources such as like Peter Moon mentioned that he might be related to some of the Montauk Indians. I don't know how, but this is according to what he said. Like I said, I don't believe anything what people say, but fuck it, he's giving them, he's giving his ancestry here in America, and not saying he African, so we already know. But like I said, during 1830, when you get in all these wars, because they can't be warring with the Indians and warring with so-called African, but they, like I said, they are not Africans. They are Negroes who came from the West Indies. That's the only proof you're going to find. You're not going to find that these people are even called that. These are new terms that the writer is in the 2000s or in the 20th century or 21st century or other fucking, and he is saying according to what he know. Okay, so when you hear the word African through mentioned about this, you know, because, and also he gonna tell you that they classified the Indians as colored in this. And he must think we stupid. The Arthur is only one color people here in the North America. Okay, so check it out. So let's continue. No, but now you got a bunch of people who take that title on. But let's continue. All right. So all right. So Carolina frontier. It say through the Stony Rebellion of 1739. It is often described as a slave revolt. There is little doubt many of those enslaved at Stony were Native Americans. The very name Stony itself comes from Native American people enslaved by the Carolinians in what was known as war. Okay, now check this shit out. Now you heard that what he said, the people Stony. Now let's see what the sources say though, because you know how this shit working out, man. Let me see something. I got a couple things pulled up here. I wanna see which one I wanna play with. All right, let me see this one first. Okay, so now he told you, and that's what I'm saying. Like, oh, they telling you because we're the same way these Indians are, these Negroes are. They're fucking lying to us, man. And they didn't rewritten history to the point to where it would confuse the fuck out of anybody. To the point you don't even want to go back and try to figure this shit out because it's so damn confusing. You know what I'm saying? It's so damn confusing. Let me see. Is it this one I want to touch on? Yeah, I can build with this one right here. Let me see. Let me see. See. I think I can build with this one. All right. Let me see something. It's a no. I got a better one right here. Well, this one say rebellions. Let me see this one. Let me see the History Channel. See what they saying. All right, just remember the author. He's a researcher. The author of Slavery in Cherokee Nation, the Kituwa Society. He is a researcher. Okay, so if he's telling you that the so see, he's saying this shit and that people ain't smart, thinking that people ain't gonna catch on because here it clearly tell you that these people was black. You understand what I'm saying? Every watch all the articles I pull up, all the articles gonna say that these are Africans. All of them gonna say that they Africans. Okay, it's this one. I think this one not gonna say it. This one gonna say, well, this one basically tells you it say the Stony Rebellion. It say one of the bloodiest slave rebellions known as the Study of Rebellion or Cato's conspiracy started in South Carolina in 1739 at Stony Ridge River. Anytime you hear anything near river, you already know who lived near the river. Okay, and that's the same thing they try to play. Same thing with the Nazi. You found people in Nazi Mississippi, but yet you don't want to tell us that they was Nazi Indians. You want to say that they fucking Africans. Okay, so it's saying near Stony River, near Charleston. It's saying one September morning, 20 slaves broke into a store, stole weapons and supplies, and headed for refuge of Spanish rural Florida. Now look, more people. This 1739. This 1739 saying they 20 slaves broke into a store, stole weapons, supplies, and headed for refuge in Spanish rural Florida, leaving 23 murder victims in their past, growing into a group of 100 upon. Now, how are they growing? How are they growing into a group of all these people? Okay, now I say growing a group of 100 upon arriving in Florida. The rebels stopped in an open field and made a ruckus in the holes. No, it said in the hopes other slaves would hear them and join a local militia. Confronted the group with the most. No, it said with the most of the escaped slaves caught and executed. All right, so. Yo, come on, man. Like I said, the key to it is that the author told us most of the we saying that most of the Stonies was undoubtedly Indians. Okay, now like I said, we know that they was bringing people back and forth from the West Indies to the motherfucking to South Carolina, into Georgia, into New York, into to what's the other, Massachusetts, etc. Okay, we know this. But like I said, at the end of the day, they're going to keep on lying to you. They're going to keep on telling you what they want you to believe in these stories, man. It's up to us to go back and reclaim our history and look, and then we decipher it according to how we see it. We don't want them to tell us shit because they're lying. They're lying all the way around the world. Now look, check this out. Let me see something. I want to see something. Now look, it's saying I want to read this right here real quick. Now look at they lying. Check this out, right? Look, read this. This is the same thing about the Stony Rebellion. Hold up, let me let it load up completely. All right, check it out. Look. Well, no, it's saying the Stony Rebellion, North American Slave Revolt. Okay, so now look, check this out. Let me read a little bit of this, right? So it's saying the Stony Rebellion, sometimes called Cato conspiracies or Cato Rebellion. See how they be having different names for a lot of these wars? It said was a slave rebellion. So now, oh, they had to be Africans because it was a slave rebellion. See, like I said, upon most so-called scholars, they do not want to acknowledge the fact that it was Indian slaves here, and if they do, because they know once they acknowledge it, the gig is up. They know that the next smart ass anybody gonna say, "Well, hold up, how do you know?" They, oh, well, the slaves did mix with them, but you're still not an African. I mean, you're still an African though, because once you find out, even if you have a doubt that you might have mixed in, or you have this in you, they don't even want you to have that doubt. They want you to automatically assume that you're not that. Even though all these fucking people I keep running into, I keep talking to, they tell me Blackfoot, Cherokee, and they ain't saying, and they're not lying. Not lying. Who you believe? You believe this motherfucker who came and took your land and then told you from another land, knowing damn well he the real people you the real people in count. Come on, man. Like I said, but let's keep it moving. It was a slave rebellion that commenced on September 9th, 1739, in the colony of South Carolina. It was the largest slave uprising in British mainland colonies prior to the American Revolution. Now hold up, hold up. So they telling you that the American Revolution was a slave uprising. I thought the American Revolution was about the fucking the English and the so-called the British and the so-called Europeans that was here. But they're telling you it was the largest slave uprising in the British mainland colonies prior to the American Revolution. So how the fuck did you have? He's talking about that was the largest slave rebellion. See, all of this shit is leading because these niggas is fighting, bro. They trying to take the land. We're fighting them, and all they doing is enslaving us and using the help of other Aborigines to do it too. All right, so it's in the colony of South Carolina. It was the largest slave uprising in British mainland colonies prior to the American Revolution. So there you have it. The American Revolution was a fucking slave rebellion, and all of these shit was uprisings against these people trying to encroach upon your land. But let me continue on reading a little bit. So now look, it's saying one of the earliest known organized rebellions in the present United States. It's saying the uprising was led by Native Africans. Look, it's saying by Native Africans who were Catholic and likely from the look, listen to this. Here we go with the fairy tales. Listen to this, people, y'all. It's saying led by Native Africans who were Catholic and likely from the kingdom of the Congo. It's saying which had been Catholic since 1491. Now look, you see how they just lied to it. Some of the Congolese spoke Portuguese. Their leader Germany referred to some reported as Cato, probably a slave belonging to Cato or Cato or Cato. Remember the O, A-E-I-O. Why? Okay, it's a family who lived just off Ashley River. See, everybody lived around the fucking river. Off of Stony River was a literally slave. I mean, literally, it was a literally slave who led 20 other enslaved. Now, listen to this. He's specifying. He's saying he's giving us a name to the Africans in the slave Congolese, whatever. That's how you. I guess that's how you pronounce them. Whatever. But it's saying who may have been former soldiers in an armed march from Stony River to. Like, how the fuck they know where to go if these motherfuckers was from the Congo? How? But guess what? It's look. It's saying though the Stony Rebellion of 1739 is often described as a slave rebellion, there is little doubt that many of them at Stony were Native Americans. The very name Stony itself come from the native people enslaved by the Carolinians. It come from the native people enslaved by the Carolinians. From the native people enslaved by the Carolinas. Where was it at? In South Carolina. Who was the people? The native people enslaved Carolinas. But these people will have you fucking believe. That's why I say you got to do your research, and you got to go with when you research how you pretty much pick a lot of shit apart, because you have to go with the fact that none of this stuff is how you popular speech. Us saying from the Americas is not popular speech amongst other people. So if you have documents and literature to you have somebody saying it. Now you just need someone to ask, well, why would someone say that the Stony Rebellion, that it was Native Americans? Because they was enslaved Carolina, you fucking dummies. And like I tell people don't understand How many people was enslaved? It was so you look it up. Or was Virginia enslaved in it was Indians enslaved in Virginia. It was Indians enslaved in Carolina. It was enslaved in North Carolina. It was enslaved in so where the fuck all these people go? Oh, just at some certain point in time they just drop out of history and then they're Africans, or you calling them Negroes, or you mixing in the Negro, because I'm quite sure anybody who have any so-called scholarly or anybody who writing it, they had to run across that it had to be Indian slaves here. They are like, it's like I said, it's very vague to a person who not looking for you to be, for the Indian to be the Negro. That is very vague. But like I told you, man, it's telling you that these people and this shit right here exaggerated by putting term None of the other articles I got say none of that shit. It don't say, it might say that they Negroes or Africans, but it don't say nothing about that they from a particular area in Africa, because they didn't get into the Congo until the 1800s, until the mid 1900s, and got into the Congo. The fucking Belgian, they got into the Congo. So that you knew the English was not being fucking English. I mean, Congolese. They wasn't even in the Congo. But that's what I'm saying. A lot of these stories just get momentum from the fact that these other slave stories be existing, to where no one ever stop and say, "Hold the fuck up, hold up." The English wasn't even in the Congo. So how did the English bring them? Oh, the French, but the English and the French didn't get along. So come again. So the Spanish wasn't. So that's how you find out. That's how you find this shit out, by you really doing infinite research like that. To where, motherfucker, you trap a nigga off. To where you trap a nigga off, you're gonna say slave, or you better be careful about saying that somebody will say, because motherfucking 69% to 70, 80% of so-called slaves was Indian slaves, and the other 20% of the slaves was Negroes from the West Indies, either indigenous Indians, either indigenous Arawaks that was already there, or they was our people that was taken from the Americas to there and brought back. Either or, you pick it up. It wasn't enslaving and shipping you to the Caribbean and going to Africa, and they wasn't doing all shit at no one time. They wasn't doing that one time. But the link to it all is stopping the fact that people tell you the Spanish and the Portuguese was bringing slaves here. Let them know that they was enslaving people here. Okay, they was capturing prisoners, or captured. That's what they call it, captured, or POWs if they was warring with them. So now let me see something though. There is another one, but this one is long into this other article right here. Now look, yeah, here go another one. So it say two views of stone a slave rebellion, South Carolina, 1739. It say on a single day of the 9th of September, 1739, occurred a slave uprising, which, although brief and quickly suppressed, alarmed white colonists throughout British America. About 50 enslaved African Americans perhaps responded to the promise to the free. Now it's saying perhaps responding to the promise of the freedom of the Spanish in Florida, stole weapons and killed about 20 white settlers as they head south. Soon, most were killed and captured, tied and executed, and decapitated. Heads of several were placed on posts as the sharp warning. It says soon after, South Carolina enacted stricter limitations on slave conducting, especially their freedom on Sundays. Now it's saying they're free. Now, when you check this out, they're telling you that Indians was Baptists. I never seen an Indian. I mean, maybe now, but prior to this, I never seen an Indian Baptist church in South Carolina. Okay, see, common sense. The Indians was enslaved in South Carolina. So where are they at? Where are they at? But the other author right here is saying, and I trust his word because he got a bunch of fuck facts in this shit. Though the Stony Rebellion in 1739 is often described as a slavery revolt, there is little doubt, many of those, those enslaved at Stony Native Americans. Then he go to specify and tell you the name Stony itself. So if you was on that land, you had to be an Indian. The very name Stony itself come from Native American people. Hold up. Now, what happened to American people? What happened? Enslaved by the Carolinians. Okay, so you had Native Americans on these same fucking plantations where you made the assumption that these people was Africans. Okay, you make that very assumption, and then we're gonna see some other things, though, some real inconsistencies with a lot of stories. And like I said, and this is like what I'm doing. I'm just gonna keep on giving you guys game, giving you guys these tips on what the fuck they doing, and you guys just take it from there. As far as like you trying to classify yourself, or you trying to whatever you trying to do, get land, reconnect yourself back to your family, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna read some more. Let's read through this. All right. So that's that. I mean, I just showed you, and like I said, this is not irrefutable proof that the people in Stony Wall was Native American. But this show you another story. Like I said, most time when you see this is the truth of it. When they're telling you these people is from Congo and these people are African American, they using the term slave and attaching it to us automatically. They're using that term and never and disregarding the fact that they know that native so-called Aborigines was enslaved in the millions here, but they don't want to bring that fact up because somebody is going to do the math and say, well, if you even if you did bring here, we would be more Aborigine or more we would have more blood from this land than we would from over there. They don't want you to connect yourself like that, but they want to give all these white chiefs your seat, and that's what they pretty much did. All right, so I'm gonna continue to read on this. I had another video pulled up that's pretty much gonna go into the half breeds and the full breeds and all that good old shit. I'm gonna say that for tomorrow, but we're gonna read through this right here, and it's had a bunch of good information leading up to us figuring out what happened from 1700s until after the Civil War. Okay, so let's continue. All right, so give me 1 second, y'all. Well, all these rebellions is about so-called Aborigine POWs raising up. Now, how the fuck you got Africans who knew how to walk to Florida? You understand what I'm saying? This is what they want you to believe. You had Africans that walk. Oh, it was two Native Americans, but the most of them was Africans. Get the fuck out. When you say that the majority of slaves in Carolina was fucking Indians. But they know. Let's continue, man. Let's continue this shit. They know exactly what's going on. And the book tells it all. Even though what he fucked up at was painting the premise that he by giving the reader the option to say, hold up, you are making a lot of reference to saying that black people were already here and these Indians are black. You went through shit about Louisiana. You said the Africans came here and they created a city in Mexico City. You say all the 1619 story, how that was a Spanish vessel. But the average person ain't thinking like we think. A Spanish vessel? Really? They thought it was a Spanish vessel coming from over there to go ahead. They don't know that the Spanish vessel was leaving the fucking Caribbean. And the same thing with the Amistad shit. The Amistad shit is the same shit, bro. The Amistad shit is a boat that left from Cuba and America, and they fought and they got on American territory, and America let them in. They was from Cuba. They had Spanish fucking names and Spanish commands. So look, we gonna read through this shit. And like I said, all you gotta do is match a lot of these wars up with these dates, which they're telling you these uprisings are going. All right, so I'm gonna be reading for a minute. All right, it's probably about 3 pages. So let's continue. 1759 insurrection plot in South Carolina was particular note. It say it was inspired by Philip John, a free mulatto. Look, it say he and coordinated among the Cherokee. Now look, listen to this. Now he's saying it was coordinated amongst the Cherokee and the Muskogee and local blacks. So how was blacks local if they was enslaved for life? It says saying that John was possessed by a particular apocalyptic religious vision. Look, listen to this. That John was possessed by a particular apocalyptic religious vision and had been energized by an enthusiastic, uh, um, angelic clergy. They say of much learning, but of an overheated imagination. John carried with him a peculiar note which detailed the plan for the rebellion, a written paper, and charged them to carry it all. No, I'm sorry. It said written paper and charge them to carry it all Negroes and show it to them. I don't know, that should sound weird. Sorry about that. It said which said that the 17th day on June was fixed upon the killing of Buckarus. It's saying Buckarus. They saying whites. It's saying, but after told him that it was agreed to wait till the corn was turned down. It's saying, and the Indians were then to be set to, and they will come and assist in killing all the Baccaras. All right. So let's continue. All right. So in 1768, not bad. In 1768, another revolt, it said, occurred near Charleston. Said led by numerous collection. It say outcasts of mulattoes, musty, and free Negroes. Now where the Indians at? It's saying various mechanics was developed throughout the colonies to drive a wedge. They saying between the imported Negroes, because they're not Africans, and the indigenous Americans. Thomas Jefferson articulated a difference between the two in his notes. Now listen, he said articulated the difference between the two in his notes. It's saying the Indian could astonish with, astonish you with a stroke of the most sublime. It's saying oratory. It's saying such as to prove the reasons and sentiments strong, their imagination glowing and elevated. It's saying, but that never yet could I find that a black had altered a thought above a level of planned narrations. Now he's saying, now listen, he's saying, now listen to this, listen to what he said. He's saying, but that never yet I can find that a black had uttered a thought. Now look, he's saying he had uttered a thought above the level of planned narration, meaning that your whole reality is a plain narration, meaning that someone narrated your whole existence or everything that you can fucking. And how is that so when we was inventing and making all these inventions? How is that so? When people still, a Negro to this day is still more motherfucking. They don't have Indians actors or Indian singing, Indian sports stars. So who the fuck, who you think is the most illuminating you know what I'm saying, entity in North America? The Indian, or the so-called Native Americans, who they trying to say that are these people on these plantations, or the Negroes, the people who been classified as African American, who are the real Aborigines. All right. So we hear how they're thinking about us. That's why I want to get in touch with this art. I want to get in touch with him, and I want his brain, and I want to show him and talk to him about a lot of the shit that's in this, as far as the images. I'm quite sure this motherfucker knows stuff. I'm quite sure he know, but like for some reason they can't, because I'm gonna ask him like this: in any of your documentary, does it say anything about any Africans? How are you calling these people Africans? Are you using the word Negro and African and the word slave? Because I'm quite sure he can't use the word slave synonymous with an African after writing the damn book. because the book is really about Indian slaves. But every now and then he want to keep throwing African in there when he wants you to believe. But in the beginning of the book, he gave you the option to believe that it was already Negroes here. All right. So let's continue this. All right. All right. So it's saying that basically we cannot think above anything that's been taught to us. Never see even elementary trait of painting or sculpture. Now listen to this. It's saying never see even an elementary trait of painting and sculpture. What's the sister name from the Chippewa? The Chippewa? Um, pretty sister too. I can't think of her name. Don't come to me. She was a sculptor and a painter. Her name is Lou. Her last name is Lewis. Edamona Lewis. She was a sculptor and a painter. And they try to say, oh, she was from a free Chippewa. If I'm pronouncing the word wrong, y'all already know how I get down. But the Chippewa. They said she was from a Chippewa Indian and her father was an African. You already know how that shit worked out. So let's continue. All right. So saying that we never seen even an elementary trait of painting and sculpture, which we know that's fucking lie. Look, it's saying they are inferior to white in their endowment. It's saying both in body and mind, which we know that's not true. South Carolina Governor James Glenn believed that the security depends upon creating hatred between these two people. It's saying and it has always been policy of the government to create an aversion into no, it's say in them Indians to Negroes. Most Native Americans was prohibited from entry into English settlement in the next 10 years. Provision. Now, was they prohibited from entering their settlement over the next 10 years if they saying that the so-called Negro is the one that's keep having these revolts? Now, listen, it's saying provisions were passed fining persons 100 pounds for taking Africans into Native American territory. What they talking about Negroes? All right. But yet, one minute they not there, next minute they is. It's all bullshit. Because enslaving the Native Americans too as they go along. All right, so now look, it's saying the colony began to pass miscegenation laws. You know, that's mixing. It's saying that discourage the union of people from no, it's saying which discourage the union of people from different races. Interracial sex union was prohibited in Massachusetts in 1705, North Carolina in 1715, South Carolina in 1717. So how the fuck was Africans mixing with Indians? That means you know what I'm saying? How? They see there's so much shit that they keep telling you that will fuck you up. And reading this stuff, I'm telling you. You have to be awoken to seeing other information to know that I've read other stuff that's contradicting some of the stuff. But for the main thing, I'm using this is for the Masonic stuff that's in here, as well as his view on how many so-called Indians was enslaved. One thing he did give us, he did tell us that 2/3 of the Indians in Carolina in the 17th. So now look, he's saying by the mid 1700s. So by 17. He said by 1750, two-thirds of the Indian, 2/3 of all slaves in Carolina was Indians. All these uprisings, you want me to believe that these are fucking people who being shipped over here? You want me to really believe that? Come on now. When they telling you that all these revolts are dealing with Indians being enslaved. So let's continue, man. All right, so listen to this right here. All right, so now look. It's saying, all right, so now these miscegenation laws is passed. Now listen, it's saying the laws from North Carolina that attempted to prevent the abomination mixtures and sporious, I guess, issue by white men and women intermarrying with Indians. It's saying white men and white women intermarrying with Indians, Negroes, mulatto. Now listen, we know mulatto is a mix, so forget the word mulatto and the musty, okay? Even though he's saying that they're preventing them from mixing with them, but we know exactly what a mulatto is. It said, now listen to this, right? Provided that a white person who marry an Indian, Negro, or musty or mulatto man or woman or any person of mixed blood to the third generation would be fined £50. So they was fining people. Listen to this. Slave codes begin to distinguish among people of different races. From North Carolina, the curious language of free person of color. Okay? Not saying from North Carolina, the curious language of free person of color arose to define a whole class of people who lay in the propriety of race construct of early American. Now look, they telling you right there, free person of color. They saying the colonies begin to use, now they saying African against Indians. This is bullshit. They begin to use other Indians against other Indians. And saying that, it's saying what he's saying. It's saying Africans served extensively with the Carolina in their wars with the Yamasee. You say the Spanish in Florida and the Spanish, and the Cherokee. At the same time, Indians were used to quell slave revolts and the South. And see, now what he doing is this. Listen to this. Indians was used for slave revolts, right? Because the Africans are in the people he's saying the Africans that was fighting, that basically was put African slaves was putting against Indians uprising. Now remember, he said himself there was more Indian slaves in Carolina. Why is he not saying African slaves against Indian slaves? Why is he saying Indian uprisings? He said, and Africans served extensively with the Carolinas in the wars. It's saying with the Yamasee, the Spanish in Florida, and the Cherokee. It said at the same time, now listen to this. So first they supposed to be runaway so-called slaves, which you call them African. Now you saying that the Africans so-called helped them fight? No, it's other Indians helping them fight. That's what I'm saying. Like shit he's confused his motherfucking self. He got good body material, but he's still confused with this shit himself. He don't know because he don't have no records of any even Africans being bought here are motherfucking Negroes that's be coming from the Caribbean. That's where everybody making their mistake at. They're assuming that these Negroes that's being bought from the Caribbeans are fucking Africans, and especially that they so-called black. This is the reason. We already been down this road before. Let me continue. All right. So all right, so it's in the Indians was quell slave revolts in Carolina. Now, I thought the Indians was enslaved in the Carolina. It says so so none of these runaway slaves was Indian slaves. All of them was African. I thought the Indians was the main ones that was running away. Come on, man. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. They cross-reference these terms and they will throw the average person off. Okay. It's saying, all right, it said, now look, check this out. It said at the time Indians was used to quell revolts and the Carolina offered bounties to Native Americans for catching runaway slaves. Runaway what slaves? African slaves or the Indians that you said 2/3 of them are present in this in this called state. All right. So then check this out. So it's saying the policy of fostering hatred among races begin to endure elements in the relationship among the varied people of the South. It codified by the Virginia Supreme Court in 1814 when it made provisions related to natural rights of white persons. It's saying and Native Americans, but entirely deproving thereof so far as the same relative to Native Americans and their descendants. It's saying the Europeans brought with them a vision of America that distinctly contrasts with the old ways of indigenous people in early stages of colonial history. Many resisted the tendency to engage in their commerce of human commodity. The Cherokee consistently refused to negotiate contracts and treaties with white people that required them to return runaway slaves. They said, now listen, now they saying that the Cherokee has slaves, but then they gonna tell you that the church, because the ones that was resisting it was basically the full blood. The full blood Cherokees was like, nah, we not doing it. But the full blood Cherokees was enslaved and became the freemen. That's all it. That's all they did. That's all they did. They want you to believe them people out there in Oklahoma is the original Cherokees. And them people that hijacked us for our fucking shit, and no one is claiming it. Listen, it's more black people that is saying that they are fucking Cherokee than any fucking Indian or any Indian on any of these reservations. Now, how the fuck you know that, but you ain't being treated as that? But when they come to you, you know you're African. You can't be that. And that's what I'm saying. That's why my whole thing is to basically show people that at the same time when you claim that you brought Africans here, the people here resemble the same people you claim you brought here. You get that? The people here that we think are Native Americans resemble the people from the West Indies. Now, I'm going to tell you, you had different tribes. Like you got, like how black, you see black people now. We got dark brown people. We got light brown people. We got light skinned people. We know that a lot of us, like myself, my great grandmother was raped by a white man, and a lot of other people. But we got brown skinned people who is indigenous. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, just look at your people, analyze your people and what we look like. We look just like the same thing with a lot of people from the Caribbean, look just like us. Look just like people in the fucking South, man. You know, and I never say that the Caribbean people are not with us. I just said on reparations that they will have to take it up with whoever was the people who colonized them and the people who was in control of their so-called state or country at this moment. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, a lot of people listen. It's telling you that they were shipping our people from here to the Caribbean and to Barbados, everything. So without a doubt you got people. That's the same reason. Like I said, you got people come here and just join right into our culture like it ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? You have, and most of the people from the Caribbeans do that the most. They do that faster than Africans. Africans don't come here right away and get right into your, but Caribbeans do. They come right. Soon the Caribbean come here, motherfucker come here right here, jump right into the culture with no problem. But an African don't. You never see an African doing it. You know what I'm saying? I got a friend from Guyana, brothers from fucking Cuba, and all these dress like we dress like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not telling you that Africans don't dress like we. There's not no full Africans that wear Timbs and wear some of the stuff we wear. I'm not telling you that. But I'm saying overall, they don't try that. You know what I'm saying? They don't try to be like that. So let's continue. Let me see. Let me see something real quick. All right, but all right. So it's saying right here, it's saying that they refuse to return with slaves. It say even when they did sign them, it's saying they seldom lived up to the agreement. It's saying a headman of the Cherokee negotiating with the English stated his position. A small, no, it's saying this small rope we show is this small rope we show you is all we have to bind our slaves with. It's saying, and many be broken. It's saying, but you have iron chains for yours. It's saying, however, if we catch your slaves, it's saying we shall bind them as we can, saying, and deliver them to our friend again and have no pay for it. Native Americans begin to understand that they was indeed a profound casteism, casteism, said between themselves and the European. Increasingly, they came to understand the difference in terms of race. They also soon discovered that Europeans would use an understanding this of self based on race. Now, why understand this? Even today, the Europeans is not really affected by race like we are. Okay, so why would that affect them when we know damn well that's not the case? They not affected by race like we are. They not affected because you can't tell a fucking Mexican different from some of these Native Americans. So how the fuck is they affected by race like we are? They're not affected by race. But it's saying the Europeans would use the understanding of self-based on race. It's saying to enforce the social and enslave the entire population. Now listen to that. It's saying they use the self-basis on race to enforce and enslave an entire population. Now, like I told you, we read one page, they're talking about the Africans. Next page, they're talking about enslaving entire populations. But when it comes to anybody running away, they're African. When it comes to any of these rebellions, they're African. Not in this book. He did say that the Stony Rebellion was Indian, and he's gonna constantly say that. But he's gonna use Africans and Indians so much to where you're going to get confused. But we got the fucking numbers. We know they brought 380,000 people from the West Indies. Now, I'm not saying that they're African, from the West Indies. We also know, according to Brown University, they said that they enslaved up to 6 million people here. So why are these slave rebellions always centered around the 380,000 people instead of the 6 million people who know the land and who've been warring with them the whole fucking time? They've been warring with the whole time, and you telling me that all the slavery rebellions against the Africans? Get the fuck out of here. We even read an article about Barbados, and they telling you that the so-called Indians was dangerous and bloody, but at the same fucking token, they say, "Oh well, we're going to stop them from coming in." And no matter of fact, what they were saying was all at that point in time, all of these rebellions was Negro rebellion. That's the ignorance of the so-called person who writing these articles. They're ignorant because they obviously don't know about so-called Indian slaves. So let's continue. All right. So it's all right. So let's see something. All right. So look, check this out. So it's saying, I'm gonna read this one more time. They also discovered that the European would use a understanding of self based on race to enforce and enslave an entire population. When have race been the problem of Native Americans? But check this shit out right here. Being first themselves enslaved and then seeing others enslaved, the following of the always came to understand the concept of natural right as it extended to all people of color. Okay, to all. So who the what you mean all people of color? What do you mean? What do you mean all people of color? I don't understand what you mean all people of color. Now look, it's saying your laws extend not into our country, nor ever did. It's saying you talk of laws and nature and laws of nation. It's saying and they are both against you. Indeed, much has been advanced on what you term civilization among the Indians. It's saying many proposals have been made to make adopt your laws, your religion, your manners, your custom. Now listen to that. Listen. It's saying the Indians saying and many proposals have been made to make us adopt your laws, your religion, and your manners and your customs. Who the fuck got their customs, their laws, and their fucking religions and all that? Who? Who got all? Oh, the African slaves, not the Indian slave, but the African slaves. Yeah, all right. Let's continue. What was I? All right, man. Your customs. It said, but we confess that we do not see the propriety of the the practicability of such reformation. It's saying, and should be pleased to beholding the good efforts of these doctrines, now these doctrines in your practices, than with hearing you talk about them. The great God of nature, the great God of nation has placed us in different situations. It is true that he endowed you with many superior advantages, but he has not created us to be your slaves. Okay, but they was their slaves already, because he was saying that the majority of people in South Carolina was their fucking slaves. Now listen to this: civilization and disconnect. Listen, I'm gonna need probably a 5 minute, well, no, probably like a 2 minute break. All right, right back. Give me like 2 minutes. All right.
Indians coming, Indians coming, Indians coming, Indians coming, Indians coming. Uptown Indian, downtown Indian, West Bank Indian, Mardi Gras Indian, 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 Indian coming, Indian coming. Nobody running, make no hoopah, no how. Early morning, early that morning, 5 already. I got my machete. Unade, unade. What they say, we on our way. Downtown, uptown Indian, West Bank Indian, back to town Indian. Lord, I'm pretty. My people, the whole gang pretty. We the best in the city. Hey mama, I kiss my mama. Mommy, I'm ready. Just like my daddy. I kiss my daughter. I hug my son. Grab my gun. Let's have fun. Jockey move. Jockey move. I'm jocking my feet up like a trainer. Indians coming, Indians coming, Indians coming, Indians coming, Indians coming. Uptown Indian, downtown Indian, Indian, Mardi Gras Indian, 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 Indians coming. Indians coming. We hit the street by any means necessary. We won't turn around. We ain't never scary. They call the police. St. Joe night. Police talking crazy. Now the minions wanna fight. Lord, Lord have mercy. Here comes the minions with that old time religion. Big Chief Cherokee, to Montana, Big Chief Charlie, Scream Coochie Molly. I love my culture. We stick together, we tougher than leather, we live forever. Represent your name, represent your gang, do your thing. I second, I sang, 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 sang. Indian, 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 Indians coming, Indians coming, Indians coming, Indians coming, Indians coming.
All right, I'm back, y'all. Beautiful song. Check this shit out right here, y'all. All right. Now, we just kind of established that you have people with mixed opinions. Some people saying that the Stonies are Africans, but most of these places where these are Indian territory, we know that these are Indians. But like like I said, man, they confuse us with change and keep changing the meaning of the people and putting these people in different places and just keep moving them from one place to another. All right. So let's continue. All right. So it's saying my mother, listen, my mother had Indian in her. Listen to this shit. My mother had Indian in her. She would fight. She was the pet of the people. When she was out, it's saying the hold up, man. What the fuck? Hold up. Check this shit out, y'all. That shit look like it say patrol. The patrol, parole, the patroller, pat, the paterols, the paterols. Check this out, y'all. Paterols. I never heard that word before. Right here. It's called paterols. I like in there right now. Let me see something. Let me just make sure y'all can see me, see everything good. Hold on. Let me click on this to make sure. Oh, my screen still showing or not? Let me send some links out, man. I know Chief Holiday probably not. Chief, if you're in the building, I haven't seen the people inside the chat room, but I'm about to send you a link. So, I don't know if AP is in. To AP a link to. I'm sorry, y'all. I think I was sharing my screen the whole time, but I wasn't doing nothing but reading, so we all good. What I was. Give me a second, y'all. All right, so let's get back to work. Just give me a second. Shit is kind of slow. But yeah, you see it like as we reading, we finding different things out, man. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, they only using the word came from the term of the word Negro. And then, like I said, they created the story from the 1900s or the late 1800s that all people who look like this came from this country, and that shit been taught to people from this point on. You know what I'm saying? To the point that where now, every time you read something, you can't find 1 minute you said the Indian slaves, and it's a whole they enslaved the whole entire population here. The next you know, all anything dealing with the dealing with slave roles or anything, and the Indian wasn't involved, was always African. Fuck out of here. Yeah, I'm sorry, my shit is taking forever. Let's give it time to load up. Still with y'all. I don't know what the fuck is going on with my computer. Sound like some niggas outside fighting too. And I don't know what the fuck is going on tonight. This is crazy. Yo, I might have to cut this broadcast off because my computer is not responding. Google not responding for some reason. So I'm probably gonna have to stop it right here. I cannot control my computer. I don't know what the fuck is going on, yo. This is my computer never done this before. But you know when I'm gonna stop where I'm at, and like I said, if I can restart it, I just restart it and I'll finish it tonight. But if I don't finish it tonight, I'll finish it tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna start broadcast, and if you see it pop up again, that means I came back. If not, I'll just do it because I can't control my screen right now. So that being said, I'm about to just end this right here. And like I said, if I come back, if my computer don't take a long time, sometimes when I shut it, it take a long time to come back up. So if it don't take a long time and whatever the problem is get taken care of fast, I will redo this tonight. If not, I'll do it tomorrow. So I'm about to end it, y'all. So peace for now, y'all.